Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about comprehensive and humane immigration reform. So what is comprehensive immigration reform? There are 7 principles to comprehensive immigration reform. The first principle is cut the numbers. Any level of illegal immigration is unacceptable, and current legal immigrant admissions of about 1 million persons each year are entirely too many. Any measure that increases either illegal or legal immigration violates this principle. Its primary purpose, since our founding, is to advance the interests and security of the nation. The second principle of comprehensive immigration reform is no amnesty or mass guest worker program. The 1986 amnesty was a failure. Rather than reducing illegal immigration, it led to an increase. Laws against illegal immigration must be enforced if they are going to act as a deterrent. Redefining illegal aliens as guest workers or anything else is just that, which is a redefinition that attempts to hide the fact it is an amnesty, not reform. The third principle of comprehensive immigration reform is protect wages and standards of living. Immigration policy should not be permitted to undermine opportunities for America's poor and vulnerable citizens to improve their working conditions and wages. The need for guest workers must be determined by objective indicators that a shortage of workers exists, for example, extreme wage inflation in a particular sector of the labor market. The fourth principle of comprehensive immigration reform is major upgrade in interior enforcement. Employers who knowingly employ unauthorized workers are the magnet that attracts illegal entry into the U.S. These employers are complicit in the illegal alien cartel activity of smuggling, trafficking, harboring, and employing and must be punished. We must reform the current system by enforcing employer sanctions and fully punishing employers who break the laws of this country. These punishments will be fines, jailing for repeat offenders, and loss of corporate charters. The fifth principle of comprehensive immigration reform is stop special interest asylum abuse. Reforming the refugee and asylum system means returning to the original purpose and definition of the program. Any person who is unable or unwilling to return to and is unable or unwilling to avail himself or herself of the protection of that country because of persecution or a well-founded fear of persecution on account of race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion. America must honor its responsibilities to protect people who are fleeing true political persecution as defined by U.S. and international law. The sixth principle of comprehensive immigration reform is immigration timeout. We must restore moderation to legal immigration. Beginning with the recommendations of the Jordan Commission in 1995, we need to restrict immigration to the minimum consistent with stabilizing the U.S. population. A moratorium on all other immigration should be immediately adopted pending true comprehensive immigration reform. We should abolish the extended relation preferences. The seventh and final principle of comprehensive immigration reform is equal under the law. There should be no favoritism toward or discrimination against any person on the bias of race, color, creed, or nationality. All admissions of immigrants should come with a single stable ceiling which is periodically reviewed on the basis of a reasoned, explicit goal of achieving popularity stability. We should abolish special preferences such as the Cuban Adjustment Act. So what is humane immigration reform? Humane immigration reform is targeted and effective. It focuses on the resources of detaining and deporting those individuals who pose a violent threat to public safety and ensure refugees who seek asylum in the U.S. that they have a fair chance to tell their stories. So now that we know what comprehensive and humane immigration reform is, what effects do they have on the community at large? In terms of the community perspective, deportations have large effect on families, forcing children into foster care as their parents are shipped out of the country and leaving single mothers struggling to make ends meet. As the Applied Research Council has found, many U.S. citizen children of undocumented deportees may end up in the foster care system, often for no other reason than the undocumented status of a parent. Legal status complicates reunifications, placing the burden for the care of these children on state and federal governments. The total costs to foster each child are significantly close to $26,000 per year. Also, as just mentioned, they create a large number of single mothers struggling to make ends meet. While many single parents in the United States face similar circumstances, in this case it is the government's own policies that create the conditions for single parenthood. In addition, the tenuous legal status of many parents left behind adds a double burden on these families to provide for their families while also raising their children. So, how to resolve these issues that involve deportations that rip not only communities apart but also families too? I have two possible resolutions to better support children and families. Here are the two recommendations. 1. Enact a common sense and comprehensive policy change. In the long term, only comprehensive immigration reform with a pathway to earn legalization for unauthorized immigrants can grant security to parents and children in mixed status families. Children should not be afraid that their family will be broken up due to irregular statuses, and they must learn not to be ashamed of their immigrant heritage. 2. Expand executive action. In the short term, administrative action can greatly alleviate threats to immigrant families. President Barack Obama can and should allow parents, especially those supporting U.S. citizen children, to stay in the country if they have committed no crimes and are only guilty of the civil offense of being in the country without status.